The option of survival is one that most MGTOW will gravitate to. Without the ties to a wife or children, you are flexible in your movements and options. With the red pill knowledge, you are also protected from women in a post-collapse scenario. You need only look to Venezuela to see a recent example of women's nature when confronted with collapse. The women down there throw themselves to any man who will support them or flee to neighboring countries to prostitute themselves where the currency actually has value. Being immune to this trap automatically puts you into an already better position to make your way in whatever scenario you find yourself in. To simply survive and enjoy life is an admirable goal for any man, and one can bring fulfillment by utilizing all that you have learned. People applying their moral compass to this will say that you should man up and save the damsel in distress, but you don't owe society anything. It's your path, and you can definitely maintain your morals with this option, but it can exist with or without them. You have learned to survive in the current sad state of society, and you can apply that same skill of adaptation to the future state of society. The next option of rebuilding has some positive moral undertones, but it can also objectively have merit by putting you in a position of strength. Many of you may be thinking, fuck society, when it goes to shit I'm looking out for myself, and that's a perfectly reasonable frame of mind to be in. Assuming it doesn't turn into Mad Max after the collapse, most of us might not have much of an impact on what comes after. But remember, all it takes is one man. Aristotle mentored Alexander the Great, and he created one of the largest empires of the ancient world by the age of 30, stretching from Greece to northwestern India. Passing on knowledge and principles is more important than passing on blood, because ideas endure. After the collapse, there will be a brief opportunity for the good side of masculinity to take charge and lead us into a worthwhile future. Imagine a society in the future led by red-pilled men. Obviously, it won't have the acronym, but if they have the knowledge of male and female nature, those are the most important foundations to have for building a functional society. The act of rebuilding should be more than for the people, because those same people will destroy it in a few generations. It should be for the future, for the men who followed their passions to help your future, so that you can follow yours and contribute to a better future for the men who come after. I struggled with this when I came to terms with the fact that I don't want a wife or children. My mentality became one of self-indulgence and hedonism because I wouldn't have to take care of anybody but myself. I redirected that biological need to serve into myself by dedicating myself to my hobbies, my happiness, and my health. You never know what kind of impact your contributions will have on the future. The contributions of red-pilled men after the collapse will have dramatic effects. I didn't really grasp the power of a library until I learned about how those were the first things rulers burned throughout history. By reading about the exploits of great men, you are essentially downloading their experiences into you like Neo did in the Matrix. Now imagine a post-collapse scenario where you not only have the basic survival knowledge that the majority of the population doesn't have, but you also have the empire-building knowledge of rulers from the past, military strategy from the best generals, political strategy from schemers, and the philosophy to guide you from the best minds. Cultivating your masculinity and rebuilding it will not only help others, it helps yourself. Before you can change anything, you have to know yourself. The masculinity that you will be working on is not welcome in today's world. It isn't right, it isn't fair, it isn't logical, but that's the state of the game right now. You can waste your energy trying to change that, or you can accept that this inversion of reality just needs to play itself out. Just because society is stagnant doesn't give you an excuse to be. The third option of thriving in the chaos is equally viable. Learning to manipulate and control the chaos takes the same amount of knowledge as someone rebuilding and trying to avoid the chaos. We've seen how easily people can be controlled when they are scared. There are always people there ready to take advantage of chaos and thrive in it. While this option is definitely the least moral of the three options I could see, it doesn't negate its objective usefulness. If you go into the collapse with the red pill knowledge on human nature, the teachings of great men of history, and the skills to take care of yourself, you can easily turn that potential from the option of rebuilding into something much more lucrative for yourself. As every MGTOW is different, in the end, it comes down to the man. I can envision a scenario where I would go through all three paths, surviving until an opportunity to thrive presents itself, and then using the resources from that to rebuild something in some form. Morality is for each man to decide on his own.